welcome to Davita's Stampin' Spot. Try to get out of the way of my camera there. It's Monday and I'm actually doing a live today. No football games that I need to do the scoreboard for. So I'm here and I would have been on time, but I had my crop this weekend and I came home with, I don't know, many boxes of stuff and I couldn't find my ink pads. So I kept digging. I did find them. So I want to share a technique with you that I taught in class in I think it was the 1st of September that I just love. And I just think it is so cool. One of my friend Diana shared the technique with me, and I just thought it would be fun to share with you today. So I'm going to switch the camera around and get started. All right. So I have a square here. It's just white cardstock that's 3 by 3. Then I have some strips of the, I'll get the right name. I always call it the wrong thing. The Unbounded Beauty. I always want to call it Unbounded Love because that's the name of the stamp set. Unbounded Beauty strips. They are a 1/2 inch wide, and I would say a minimum of 5 inches. You might be able to go a little bit smaller, but not much. Then I have 4 squares that are 3/4 by 3/4, and I've got 4 of those. Then I have my card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 for the middle. My layer that's always, the first one's always 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a square that is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with these strips, and I need 4 of them that, go together halfway decently. So you know me, I'm a plain Jane. So it really taxes my brain to put a bunch of patterns together. But I know it looks cool if I do. So let's see, let's try maybe that. What else do I have here? Oh, okay, let's try that. So 2 patterns that are more detailed, and then 2 more that are just kind of texture. We'll say texture. Yeah, that'll work. I'm getting a weird glare. I hope you guys aren't getting it. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is grab my ruler, and it's still in a box somewhere. All right, well, we were talking at the crop on Saturday. One of the most interesting things for people to learn is that when you're crafting, sometimes you just have to make do. So I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock here, and I want to draw a line that goes point to point. And I'm going to turn and do the exact same thing on the other side. All right. Going to take my first 2 strips and I'm going to lay them down so that I can still see the pencil mark with the first one. And then the second one is going to butt right up against that. Yeah, I think I like that. Now that I said that's what I wanted to do, I'm second guessing myself. Yep, that's what we're going to do. All right. Oops, I shifted it just a little bit. All right, you don't want to glue anything down yet. So I've got those both on that line. Now I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to go under the first piece and over the second one. Then do the opposite with the other piece and go under and over. So that reminds you, did you guys ever make those well, I always made hot pads years ago, and you took and you wove the little like rubber band fabric pieces over, under, and then you go under, over. That's what this reminds me of. All right, so once I get my 4 pieces, and the reason I say not much more or not much shorter than 5 inches is even though the square is 3 inches, you're going from point to point. So you need a little bit more than what you would normally think. I thought I was being smart and I tried to shorten the strips and I wasted paper because they were too short. All right, so now what you're going to do is glue down the edges. Well, good grief, it's supposed to be easy. Okay, I'm gonna turn it and do the same thing here. Got adhesive on my finger. Now everything's sticking. And it messed up my... All right, so we got to go back. So those are down. We're going to do under, over, and over, under. I was trying to work on some stuff for a demonstrator event coming up, and I told the ladies, nope, that's not the piece I wanted. I wanted that one. That my brain is just kind of mush today. It was an awesome event. I was so pleased with the way it turned out, and the ladies seemed to enjoy it. But boy, it took a lot of brain power. You know, the first time you do something, it takes so much work to figure it out. I kept telling myself, the second time will be so much easier. And we were talking about that at the crop. Someone had figured out, Sarah figured out how to make this adorable diaper bag out of paper. It was so cool. And she said she was going to make another one. And she goes, oh, the second one will go so much quicker because now I know what I'm doing. And boy, isn't that the truth? Once you know how to do something, it's so much easier. All right. So now that I've fixed my slip of my paper moving, we're going to work around. Go ahead and we're going to, guess what? We're going to glue pieces down. You probably got this part figured out now. And see if I don't move the pieces, it goes pretty quick. Technique and Funfold classes this week. We are doing Emboss Resist. It's always a technique I love to do with fall leaves. And I have somebody that normally comes to my classes that has never done it. So I'm really excited to share it with her and everyone else this week. All right, so you want to make sure your pieces are right there together. Like, okay, well, that looks pretty cool. And you're probably going, Davida, I don't get it. I don't know why you think that's so cool. I'll show you. All right, so we're going to now trim off the edges. And that's why, you know, don't use a 12-inch piece. Just do enough that you can cover your 3-inch square. We are going to make a Christmas card with that Shepherd's Care. If you have not seen cards with that, oh my gosh, you need to check them out. I would show you mine, but they're still downstairs in a box somewhere. Poor Kent, I'm not even sure he can hardly get to his recliner. I've got so many boxes sitting around that need to be emptied. Thought I was going to stay home tomorrow, but just took a job for the guy that I've been covering for the last 4 days. He's in Florida, bless his heart. He went down there for a family reunion. I don't know what part of Florida he's in, but I'm guessing maybe he can't get home. So tomorrow will be day 5 for him. All right, now I'm going to take my 3/4 by 3/4 square, 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch. And I'm going to put it, if you make this with me, I'm going to put them right on the corners. Okay. Okay, can you see what that does? It makes it look like I cut the pieces, which I think is really cool because I didn't. When I first got this card from Diana, I thought, oh, that's really cool, but how am I going to figure out that angle so it's the right angle all the time? Well, by putting these squares down, you don't have to. Going to do all 4. So anyway, teacher's got to get back from Florida. I'm in a Spanish classroom, and if you guys know me, you know I don't know any Spanish. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, and that's it. And that's only because my kids watched Sesame Street. All right, so now my quilt piece, do you see it? Look how cool that looks. But we're going to make it look even more like a quilt. Get this trash out of the way. I grabbed my eyelet 3D embossing folder and we're going to put it in here. Now it accomplishes two things. One, it adds some texture to the card. And two, it's going to hide those squares in the corner and make it so it's not as obvious. Grab my die cut machine. I did find it. Fortunately, it was easier to find than the ink pads were. All right, so we're going to use number one, and this is a 3D emboss folder. So all I'm going to do is the paper inside the embossing folder, and then plate number 4, and I'm going to run it through. Look, can you see that? And because I embossed it, it's hard to tell that I laid that paper over the top. Isn't that the coolest? So I'm going to run a contest this week. I want to see what quilt you come up with. So again, it's a 3-inch square. My strips are a 1/2 inch, and these little squares are 3/4 of an inch. I'll try to post that down below the video. So you'll have the numbers. All right. I'm going to take my white card base. This has gone better than I thought it might. I've kind of messed my back up, and my hands feel like they're going to sleep all the time. I was kind of worried I might have trouble doing my video, but so far it's worked out pretty well. Oop, that little piece just keeps following me around. Little piece of glue. All right, so I thought it would look cool to use these Summer Splash and the Petunia Pop like that. And then I wanted to put a greeting down here. I need thank you cards. I've got several people I need to send cards to. So I'm going to stamp thank you. And since my 2 favorite colors out of the new in colors are the Petunia Pop, I'm sure you guys are so surprised. And I love the Summer Splash. All right, so I'll put my embossed quilt square on my Petunia Pop. I'm sure you probably noticed I don't have my glass mat down today. It's because it's in a bag somewhere too. Oh, the things I will be finding this week. I think of Dr. Seuss. Oh, the things that you will say. Is that the right greeting? All right, I'm looking for my dimensionals. You know, when you take stuff on the road, and I shouldn't even say that. It's even when I take it into classes in my kitchen, and it's always hard to find stuff. Speaking of that, I started to tell you about the technique class this week and the embossing. If you ever want to come to any of my classes and my 13 stairs keep you from coming, let me know. My mom has generously offered to hold the classes at her house. She has a ranch style home. There's 1 step up onto her porch and 1 step into the house. So 2 steps versus 13, much better. And she said I can hold my classes there. So don't let my stairs stop you. Just let me know. And we'll get the class set up over there. I'm sure all of my regular attenders won't mind having fewer steps to climb as well. All right. I guess I can go ahead and pull it down. So I hope you like this technique. I've been anxious to show it to you. I thought this was going to be one of my free cards at my crop last weekend. So I had held off on showing this to you because I didn't want the crop people to see it before the crop. So there you go. I just think that is so cool. And you know, I can't sew, I don't quilt. So this is as close as I'm going to get. All right, so technique and funful classes are Wednesday and Friday at 4 o'clock. I will also offer a 7 o'clock on Friday. One other thing I wanted to share with you, Stampin' Up's hosting a virtual event for World Card Making Day this Saturday. If you would like to attend our virtual gathering, it's going to be in Olathe at Community Bible Church from 1:30 to 4:30. The video is 3 to 4, but we're going to do a shoebox swap. And if you don't know what that is, that's okay. Reach out to me. Stampin' Up! Starting tomorrow is going to offer $150, $155 worth of product for $99 plus tax for a sign-up deal in October. So if you're interested about that at all, you could come to the virtual event, the shoebox swap, meet some of my team members that are amazing, and spend some time with us crafting. So I hope you liked my project. Hope you're thinking about coming to class this week or the World Card Making event on Saturday. And I will have a Tuesday tip tomorrow, and I'll see you next month.